Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you're tuning in from around the globe, peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Welcome to the $1 Trillion Tickers podcast. I'm your host, Matt Riches. This is your pre-market briefing for Friday, March 13th, 2026. Markets are digesting a major wave of economic data this morning that came out at 5:30, with multiple key reports hitting at the same time, including Core PCE inflation, GDP, durable goods orders, and consumer sentiment indicators. This cluster of macro data provides one of the broadest snapshots of the U.S. economy, covering inflation, growth, manufacturing activity, and consumer behavior all in the same morning. The key question for traders now is whether this batch of macro data strengthens the narrative of economic resilience or whether mixed signals begin to create uncertainty about the next phase of the economic cycle. I track the headlines, the data, and the market levels so you don't have to. This show is for education and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research, but you could use this show as a foundation. All right, let's get into the mantra. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve the wealth that I am building for me and my family. Riches and freedom, they come to our hands. I am the master of all I command. My learning is limitless. My earnings are too. The more I discover, the more I can do. The stock market is a machine of design, and I have the power to make that wealth mine. I am capable, I am skilled, I am bold. Blessings on the journey as the vision unfolds. So we had a bunch of the announcements that we talked about earlier. Yeah, they're all right here on Forex Factory. You see, we got 2 red folders, 3 orange folders, and then at 7 o'clock, we got 1 red folder, we got 2 orange folders. It's just a day full of numbers, y'all, full of data. So, as you can see, at 5:30, the market actually spiked up briefly before consolidating again. So that's a good sign. After all that data came out, it's not down. Okay, next. We only got about 1 minute before market opens, so I don't have time to get into Robert Greene's daily law for today. So we'll just prepare these other screens. Our 8-chart layout. Top left-hand corner, we have NVIDIA. To the right, we have Apple, Google, Microsoft. And then underneath NVIDIA, we have Amazon, followed by TSM, AVGO, and middle platforms. All right. Yeah, if we have time, I'll get back to Robert Greene's daily law later. Market open, market open, market open. The market is open Friday, March 13th, 2026, 6:30 a.m. Let's get into it. All right. Check out our $1 Trillion tickers. SPY is looking strong in the pre-market. It's actually up over 0.5% at 670.23. QQQ is also looking strong in the pre-market. Market is open now, but it's up 0.5% at 600. Nvidia is up over 1.25% at 185.77. Apple is down 0.25% at 255. Google is up 1% at 307. Microsoft is down almost 0.5% at $400.21. Amazon is down almost 0.25% at 209.11. TSM is up over 2% at 343.92. AVGO is up over 0.25% at 337.48. Meta is down. Looks like Meta just filled the gap. Meta is down almost 3% at 620. Let's see. Yeah, this looks like a gap fill. To the downside, the gap is filled. Okay, so we can go up here. Looks like it's creating a new gap. So previous gap filled, creating a new gap down. Yesterday it was down 2.5%. Today it's down almost 3%. So Meta is just selling off. I do have a support level here at 620.30, followed by this diagonal daily support trend line. So let's see if we can catch some buyers right here. All right, next Tesla. Tesla is up over 0.5% at 397.32. Berkshire B is up 0.25% at 492.89. All right, let's check out our market caps from our $1 trillion tickers. Nvidia, the most valuable company in the world, is at 4.51 trillion. Apple 3.75 trillion. Google 3.7 trillion. Microsoft 2.97 trillion. Amazon 2.24 trillion. TSM 1.78 trillion. AVGO 1.59 trillion. Meta 1.56 trillion. Tesla 1.49 trillion. Berkshire B 1.06 trillion. All right, let's check out the news. Okay, this is from Business Insider. This company, Lucid Motors, had 5 big announcements on autonomy and robotaxis. This is their robotaxi called Lunar. It is set to compete with Tesla's cyber taxi, RoboCab. And yeah, it looks very, very similar. So it has bigger rims and it's silver instead of gold. Interesting, Lucid. Wonder when it's supposed to drop. Let's see if we can get some information right quick. Lucid announced the Lunar Robotaxi at its 2026 Investor Day. The compact two-seater without any steering wheel or pedals. Dang, they bit Tesla. Exactly. Built on the new mid-size EV platform starting under $50,000, targeting 40% lower operating costs than existing robotaxis. I don't know about that, but the Lunar directly challenges Tesla's Cybercab with the late 2026 commercial launch via partnerships with Uber and Nuro, including 20,000 Gravity SUV units for Uber and a $300 million investment with Lucid's 80 test vehicles already operating in the San Francisco Bay Area. Autonomy features a roadmap to level 4 self-driving by 2029, tiered ADAS subscriptions from $69 to $199 monthly, positioning Lucid to capture a projected $700 billion ride-hailing market by 2035 and profitability through B2B strategies. Interesting. If they're already out in the bay, we gotta look for some. I don't think I've seen any on the road. All right, next. China's ByteDance gets access to top NVIDIA AI chips. This is interesting. We've been going back and forth with these H200s and whether they're going to go to China or not. Let's see this latest news. Wall Street Journal report on ByteDance securing access to NVIDIA's Blackwell B200 AI chips via Alani Cloud in Malaysia, involving about 36,000 chips worth over $2.5 billion to circumvent U.S. export bans on direct sales to China. Oh, okay, so that's how they did it. U.S. restrictions since 2023 limit advanced AI chip exports to China to curb technological rivalry, prompting firms like ByteDance to route purchases through Southeast Asia data centers, complying with NVIDIA's cleared partners. This deal bolsters ByteDance's global AI efforts, including apps like Douyin and TikTok, while sustaining NVIDIA's revenue streams outside restricted markets amid ByteDance's planned $14 billion NVIDIA chip spend in 2026. NVIDIA gonna find a way to get them chips to China. There's too much bread out there. All right, next, the NASDAQ 100 is up 537% over the last decade. That's 20% over the last year, 110% over the past 3 years, 99% over the past 5 years, because we had that terrible year in 2022, but and 537% in 10 years. This is the top 100 technology stocks. So, do you believe the trend will continue for technology? If so, you might want to buy QQQM. You don't have to buy the most expensive. You don't have to buy regular QQQ that costs over $600 a share. You can buy QQQM for $200-something a share. Speaking of QQQM, let's go ahead and run these other prices. Oops, hold on. That's supposed to be Meta, okay, let's go to the other screen. Alright, SPX is up almost 0.5% at 6,713. SPY is up over 0.5% at 670.50. Strong first 10-minute candle, y'all. The NAS 100 is up 0.5% at 24,669. QQQ is up over 0.5% at $600.66. The Dow Jones is up 0.75% at $47,088. The Dow Jones ETF is up almost 1% at $471.78. The VIX is dropping. It's been dropping ever since the London session, and it's down to 25.34. Looks like we got a gap fill here on the 10-year Treasury notes. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that gap. It's currently 424, and gold is at $5,107 per ounce. The gold trust is at 101.06. The silver trust is at 75.92. The copper miners ETF is at $79.85. AMD is barely under break even at 197.60. Bitcoin is up to 73,000, y'all. IBIT is up over 3.5% at 41.44. Ethereum is up 5%. Wow. At 2,182. DMNR is up almost 7% at $22. Palantir is down almost 0.5% at 152.93. And Robinhood is down fractionally at 76.03. Alright, let's get back to some news. We have Apple is lowering the fees it collects from app developers for software and in-app purchases in China. Apple said that its commission is changing from 30% to 25% for its mainland China app store. Wow, that's interesting. I wonder if it's still 30% for America. Yeah, I might have to delete these graphics because that shit keep on going back to. They keep on going back to the graphic when it's supposed to be on this screen right here. I might have to delete it, but that was just something that I try to add on there. Or figure out why it keeps on going there. I don't know. Let's see. No, it's still the same. It's still the same for. It's still the same for America. Yeah, I'm about to delete. I'm about to delete that. It's not working correctly. Alright, technical difficulties, y'all. Next, Robinhood launched its app to the public in 2015. Today, y'all. They were the first company to ever allow customers to buy and sell stocks without having to pay a fee. The innovator, Robinhood, yeah. All right, the S&P is thinking about changing the rule that would speed up SpaceX's entry into the S&P 500. They are considering a rule modification. This change would enable immediate eligibility for SpaceX by waiving the standard 6-month seasoning period for newly public companies, potentially unlocking billions in passive index fund investments. That's pretty dope. This IPO is so big, they're about to change the rules, y'all. All right, next. I thought this was interesting. So, internal messages from Live Nation reveal 2 executives talking about robbing fans blind. This is two executives at Live Nation. They said these people are so stupid. I almost feel bad for taking advantage of them. This is, I don't know if y'all go to Live Nation concerts, but they talking bad about the people who are spending money with them. Alright, it says this post shares Slack messages from Live Nation executive Ben Baker from 2021 and 2023, where he mocks fans as so stupid and brags about robbing them blind through high VIP fees at a Florida amphitheater. These messages serve as evidence in the ongoing Department of Justice antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster, accusing them of monopolizing live events and inflating prices via dynamic pricing and exclusive deals controlling over 70% of the major U.S. venues. The revelation underscores consumer exploitation in the $30 billion live music industry, potentially bolstering calls for remedies like revenue access for competitors amid public backlash from incidents like the 2022 Taylor Swift ticket sales fiasco. That's cold, man. That's cold, man. Next, Trump said, "Where is Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Too Late Powell today? He should be dropping interest rates immediately, not waiting on the next Fed meeting." All right, next. All right. I think it's Black Women's Month this month, right? March. So I got a legendary black woman, Sadie Tanner Alexander, was the first Black American, foundational Black American, to earn a PhD in economics in 1921, the first Black woman to graduate from the University of Pennsylvania Law School, the first Black woman admitted to the Pennsylvania Bar, and the first national president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, y'all. Salute to this sister here. All right. Let's check out some Black history from this brother right here. I'm sure y'all know his name. On this day, in 1791, Benjamin Banneker, a Black mathematician and astronomer with L. Infant, began to lay out and plan Washington, D.C. On March 12th, which is yesterday, 1791, Benjamin Banneker began working alongside Pierre Charles L. Infant on the early survey and planning of Washington, D.C., helping to lay out the groundwork for the future capital of the United States. Benjamin Banneker was born in 1731 in Maryland to a free Black family, largely self-taught. He developed a deep interest in mathematics, astronomy, and science. Despite having limited access to formal education, Banneker became known for his remarkable intellect and scientific skill. One of his earliest achievements came when he constructed a wooden clock entirely by hand after studying the inner workings of a pocket watch. The clock reportedly kept accurate time for decades, earning him recognition for his mechanical and mathematical abilities. I actually have a song that I made using Suno dedicated to him. It's like his a summary of his life. through song. You should check it out. It's on my YouTube channel, my YouTube music channel as well. All right. Next, NVIDIA will spend a total of $26 billion over the next 5 years building the world's best open source models. Next, it's from Wallow267. Business thrives on patience. Stay steady when progress feels invisible. All right, I got a clip from Trap. The question is, why don't they teach us investing in school?
In the school. Well, you got to think about it from this perspective. If they taught us investing in school, then who would fuel the system? They need us to be dependent on the system, even though they know the playbook don't work. But it actually controls. And so what happens is investing transitions you from being a consumer to an owner. It's a transfer of power. Not just financial literacy, though, but economic empowerment. And that's one of the strongest powers that a person can have. Control of their money, control of the narrative on how they spend, how they invest, and how they just increase their family's purchasing power. And so think about it. Most of us are taught to use the bank as a safe house. It's the safest place to put our money. And so what happens is you don't just become the consumer, you become the product. In the same bank that we got to get the loan from, the same bank that's whooping us over the head with overdraft fees, they have the power. And so when you transition that power into the person that says, I own shares of this bank, and then this bank is paying me dividends, and these dividends are buying me more shares. And then you go a step further and saying, I can actually use the bank shares as a collateral to get a loan from the bank. That's a transfer of power. And what happens now is, if you figure that out, then you unlock a level of the game that then positions you from the 99, not necessarily the 1% economically yet, but you start thinking like that. And that's the true key to wealth, is thinking different about money and the financial system. And so, because nobody never taught us that, I went through my hardships and learning and still learning. And so I just want to pull up on my people and just teach them the same stuff that I'm learning. But they're going to keep changing the game, and the game going to keep evolving. But once you see the game different, you play the game different. And once you play the game different, then you have different goals and different aspirations. And now you know you're actually eligible of winning the game. And that's what I mean when I say Wall Street looks like us now.
Woo! Shout out Trap, y'all. And we going to end the show on that. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know I didn't have my coffee this morning. I didn't have the typical energy that I have. Fridays, it's my early day, so I'll be having to do so much before the show. But tomorrow, I don't got to work early, so definitely be energized off the coffee. And we'll be charting tomorrow since the market is closed. And appreciate y'all for tuning in. Shout out to everybody on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. You know how we like to end the show.
It don't happen overnight. And there's going to be moments when it's really, really frustrating. And there's going to be moments when it's really, really inspiring and empowering. And if you get too high off the highs and too low off the lows, you're going to take yourself on a ride that's very uncomfortable. I think it's just about being committed to the work, appreciating it, when it's good, and not stressing too bad when it's bad, just appreciating the work and staying focused on showing up every day.
Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom.